You've all finally made it to the final teaser. This is only 6 chapters of 30 exciting events that will be taking place in the novel, so be prepared to run out of breath while trying to stay alive with Yingxue and Sulea as they continue their journey, racing against time and the danger that threatens their love and safety. Chapter 6. To Believe or Not. Your spirit is barely clinging to your body. The old grandmother's words kept on replaying in my mind. Sulea, Sulea, Sulea. Yingshuo's voice echoed. You've been quiet for a while. What's wrong? He stood in front of me, appearing worried. I've been thinking about what the village grandmother said to me. She was trying to tell me something but didn't go into further details. I'm a believer in the elderly who give spiritual insights, Yingxue said, beaming with reassurance. Is that why you put this necklace on me? I grasped the stone to have another look. The energetic beauty enlightened my thoughts. All around the surface felt jagged to the touch, but fragile in a way. The colors spread in pearly dark blue with feather-like swirls of melted gold. You wander off and get lost from time to time. You'll need the extra protection. Are you saying it's a gift? A smile flashed across my face. I'm only lending it to you. The obvious flush on his face told the contrary. We continued trekking deeper into the jungle. With his long knife, he slashed taller plants and wood vines out of our way. A half day into our journey, Yingxue stopped and closed his eyes abruptly. He had good ears and was always wary of his surroundings. I stopped and scowled, not quite comprehending the gesture. What's wrong? Let's walk faster. Yingxue stood up and grabbed my wrist. Without a word, he firmly pulled me along. Is someone following us? I asked, and before I could get an answer from Yingxue, we came to a halt. Stay very calm. We don't want to give this animal the opportunity to chase us, he said beneath his breath with a very serious expression, like our lives were at stake. I dared to raise my gaze to meet the creature's glaring amber eyes. Its fangs were gnawing through its freshly killed prey. The animal beneath him was already torn into pieces, making it hard to determine the species. I'd never seen a tiger in person before, other than those caged up in the zoo. Its stripe of black, white, and orangish-brown looked so vibrant in the deeper yellow-green jungle, making the scene even scarier. An adolescent, these animals were known to be extremely fast, and the strength of it looked unimaginably terrifying. Yingxue gestured for us to slowly back away. We watched with keen eyes from 20 feet, hoping the tiger would continue to go on about its business. The quieter we could escape, the better. But luck was not on our side. The animal noticed us, and it popped its head up with alerted ears. Go! Run as fast as you can, and don't look back, Yingxue commanded. I ran at the drop of his words, but when I looked back, he stared at me for a quick moment before running in a different direction. My eyes followed him as the tiger bolted after him. Yingxue must have known that escape for both of us was not an option. Yingxue! I shouted frantically before running the parallel to his silhouette. I was unwilling to let him face this creature alone, even at the cost of my life. My heart felt like it was going to pop out of my chest. I'd never run so fast and efficiently through the jungle before. My eyes paced from Yingxue to the animal. I managed to skip over elevated vines, evaded broken branches, squeezed through stands of bamboo, and shoved banana leaves out of my face. By the time I reached Yingxue in a thrashing stop, all my belongings were missing from my cloth bag. I loaded 2 fist-sized rocks, readying my throw to distract the tiger from Yingxue. My hands were trembling, but with all my might, I took my best shot and flung the bundle of rocks. I missed. The animal noticed me right away. Yingxue jerked his head in my direction with stunned, panicked eyes. He breathed heavily as he switched his focus between me and the tiger, quickly calculating his movement should the animal strike in our direction. A dread of fear threatened to overwhelm me as the animal stared at me with merciless eyes and began moving slowly in my direction. The thought of being mauled by this beast shook me to the core, but my main concern was what I could do to distract it from Yingxue. I immediately took off. "Celia, no!" Yingshua shouted after me as he whipped out a thick rope, tightly wrapping it around his knuckles. The tiger managed to gain enough momentum from the distance between us to close rapidly. It was then I realized a dead-end cliff was up ahead. Just as I turned around, the animal lunged forward, pinning me underneath him. The horror on my face grew when I witnessed the tiger's dark, massive jaws expand to reveal long, piercing canines. I had forgotten how to breathe. "Help me!" My mind drifted, and I shut my eyes in defeat. A split second later, I heard Yingshua grunting from atop the animal, swinging a thick rope around its neck. "Be careful!" I shouted as Yingshua forcefully yanked the animal to the side and off of me. Panting for air, I rolled onto my stomach and pushed up onto my hands and knees. My hair was thrown into complete mess while I gathered my strength in horrid panic, thinking how we might possibly make it out alive. Yeshua continued to choke the animal with all his strength and proceeded to unsheath his knife, but the tiger roared and fiercely swung at him with his sharp claw. "Yeshua!" I called out to him as he staggered away. Thin streams of red blood streaked out of his injured arm. The tiger rose on all fours and charged my direction once again. Yeshua sprinted over and took a flying stab into its back. Even that didn't taint its speed. The commotion happened so fast before my very eyes. Terror struck my face at seeing the mass of the tiger's muscles flex while bounding in my direction. It leaped into the air to strike, and as I threw my arms over my face, I twisted and lost balance. The world slowed down, shoved off the cliff. The animal's fierce momentum hauled me into the air with it. My world tumbled in a circular motion as I saw orange and black streaks of fur flash before me. The fatal strike may have missed, but it had nevertheless cast my life towards impending death. "Zulia!" Yeshua reacted. With immense speed, he dove off the cliff, thrust his knife into the ground for grip, and caught my arm with his injured hand. Hung in the air, my mind went into a fog. The plea in my eyes spoke of desperation to stay alive. Bulging veins appeared on Yeshua's forehead as sweat came dripping down from strands of his dark hair. He bared his teeth and clenched them hard. As he pulled again and again, even though his bleeding worsened, more streams of blood coursed down his trembling arms. "Zulia, keep holding on. I won't let you fall." The pink in his eyes intensified as fearful tears began to well up. He cared for me. As frightened as I felt, seeing Yeshua cry for the first time gave me strength. Gritting my teeth, I gathered all my might and reached once more. He winced in pain when I clutched onto his forearm, but that didn't lessen his grip. Being unable to defy gravity at this point, my fingers kept on sliding down. "I can't lose you again." His sincere sob broke my heart. We both knew the mixture of blood and sweat was causing constant slippage. I felt the black leather band of Yengshua's mechanical watch. It was the only form of grip keeping us connected, but that wouldn't save my life. The leather band snapped in my grasp and sent my pupils darting in shock. "It's over," my mind screamed. All my hopes shattered into pieces. The wind roared through my ears until I could no longer hear Yengshua's voice calling in anguish. The intense pressure tore through my face while my black hair billowed around me. As many times as I've admired the vast blue sky, the fading image of Yengshua made it that much more beautiful as I fell further down and down. I snapped from my long dream. A loud scream vibrated from my throat before my eyes popped open. Tears gushed from my eyes, and a rumbling pain flared from my gut, twisted inside my stomach. I turned to vomit in the toilet, feeling like I had just died. "Excuse me, are you okay in there?" a girl's voice asked before she knocked at the door of my stall. Gasping, I looked around in confusion and quickly gathered myself, wiping all the moisture from my face and mouth. "I didn't die, and I'm back. It was just another nightmare." I exited the stall, using my hands for support. Two girls stared with curious expression, like I had just emerged from a train wreck. They made way slowly for me to get through. Exhausted, I turned on the sink faucet to wash my hands and stared off in a blur until noticing the water turning pink made me resharpen my attention. It was a sink full of washed blood. What is this? I wasn't bleeding anywhere. I brought my hands to eye level to get a better look. Nothing. Nowhere was I hurt. Do we need to get you to the nurse's office?" one of the girls asked worriedly. They too had noticed the pink water. Their eyes grew shaky when they saw my face. "I'm sorry. Don't be afraid. I just have a sleeping disorder." A small voice answered their horrified expression. The two girls backed away and exited quickly. Indifferent to it, I went about my business, cleaning my hands. People thinking me weird was nothing new. Momentarily, I heard a clack against the sink counter. Two brown eyes stared at me. "Excuse me." This fell on my side of the stall. An Asian girl with black hair and dark eye makeup told me, "Looks broken." The emo girl walked off, leaving me in deep confusion. A minute later, I glanced at the white countertop again, bemused while observing the familiar object. As I picked up the watch, I noticed one of the old flaky leather straps was torn off the main face of the device. Not long after, it finally registered, and the image of Ying Shua's watch, semi-coated in blood, snapping from his wrist, streaked across my vision. A sense of incredulity came over me, followed by shocking waves of anxiety. I felt suffocated to the core. Everything hit me at once. Disbelief, panic, distress, all in one turmoil of emotions I didn't have answers to. Did I really not have a sleeping disorder? More importantly, had I really not been dreaming? Trembling fingers crawled to my sweaty neck, up the noises in my ears, and combed through my hair while my blood pressure continued to rise. I clenched my fists as my eyes raised to view my reflection in the mirror. Lines of dark, gritty dirt were tucked between my fingernails. Dry sweat was stuck to my face like a shiny layer of glue. My eyes were poofy from traveling through the air at such intense speed, and somehow I ended up back in my own time, as if I'd been retracted by gravitational forces. All those occasions, I'd gone back to the same places and returned a mess. Was it really because I had been physically there? But how was that even possible? Were they really dreams or not? Then I touched the dip beneath my neck. With shocked eyes, I stared intently at my own reflection. I wasn't hallucinating. The necklace was real.